welcome back everybody to the channel. It's me, Raul Alejandro Mendoza, or the Nerdy Chicano. Either way how you say it, it's all good here. And a happy Friday to everybody. Hello everyone, hope everyone's having a great day. Hope I'm finding you safe and sound, and hope that everything is great where you are. As always, we're back again for another Blu-ray review as we look at another Criterion from my Criterion Collection. And on today's video, we're going to be talking about Hirokazu Kore-eda's Afterlife. Of course, thank you all so much for the constant support and the love on the videos, y'all. I've been seeing that the videos are growing, and I thank you all so much for that. Of course, if you want to stick around for our journey here through physical media and movies in general, you want to go ahead and subscribe to this YouTube channel. You turn on that notification bell so that way you get a notification every single time that a video goes up on this channel. You don't want to miss a single lick of content here. And of course, if you're interested in watching videos like this a little early than usual, like this one will be available for like a week in advance, go ahead and go to patreon.com/thenerdchicano and subscribe to my Patreon, pledge to one of our tiers, and you will instantly get early access to videos like this and our series Between the Frames. Now, without further ado, let's get into this video. So today we're taking a look at Afterlife from director Hirokazu Kore-eda, and I have always been interested in completing more of Kore-eda's work. I loved 2018 or 20, no, I think it was like 2016. 2016 Shoplifters. I loved that film. I thought it was incredible when I first watched it, and then I watched it for a second time when we reviewed it on the Nerdcore, and I was just instantly in love with Hirokazu Kore-eda's style as a director. So I said, I really do want to expand my mind a little more, expand my horizons a bit more, and watch more of Kore-eda's work, while also digesting more of Japanese cinema. So on the November 2021 sale on Barnes & Nobles, I picked this one up, along with Still Walking, which we will definitely talk about on this channel. And yeah, I'm just really excited to look at this film, to talk about this film, because he is probably one of my my favorite directors from Japan, just off one film already. But he's also probably one of the most interesting directors who's working right now. So let's go ahead and take a look at the packaging for Hirokazu Kore-eda's Afterlife from the Criterion Collection. So this comes in at spine number 1089. 1089. This is one of the, it's a newish release because, this was what's it called? Recent-ish, I would say. But of course, this is the front of the Amore. Beautiful art there, y'all. Then we look at the back. Of course, let me keep it from glaring terribly. There we go, right there. Yep, you guys want to stop and read that, you can. And then, of course, our spine. Afterlife, the Criterion Collection, spine number 1089. And you just go ahead and pop it open here. And you have the booklet. You have a booklet. Well, not a booklet, like pamphlet, but booklet. You know what I mean. You have the disc here. This is a Blu-ray disc, because this film is being presented in Blu-ray. But the back actually has like some design on this one. This is from an actual like scene from the movie towards the end of the film. Right at the end of the film, I'm sorry. Here is the scene. It's pretty cool. I like that they included that in this. But yeah, this is the disc. Now let's take a look at the booklet. This is the front of the booklet. Pamphlet, whatever you want to call it. This is the back of it. You open it up, and of course you get treated to some of this some more art or some more stills from the film. You have the cast and crew there, and then you get like more stuff here. You get your transfer notes, you get your special thanks, your acknowledgement, production credits, and of course you also get a essay from an essay. So there you go. But yeah, so that just is what's included in the packaging, and let's go ahead and take a look at this movie. Alright, so coming in from Criterion.com, or, of course the introduction is right here in the back of the movie, but I'm going to go ahead and read from Criterion.com here. If you could choose only one memory to hold on to for eternity, what would it be? That's the question at heart of Hirokazu Kore-eda's revelatory international breakthrough, a bittersweet fantasia in which the recently deceased find themselves in a limbo realm where they must select a single cherished moment from their life to be recreated on film for them to take into the next world. Afterlife's high concept premise is grounded in Kore-eda's documentary-like approach to the material, which he shaped through interviews with hundreds of Japanese citizens. What emerges is a panoramic vision of the human experience, its ephemeral joys and lingering regrets, and a quietly profound meditation on memory, our interconnectedness, and the amber-like power of cinema to freeze time. So that's the Criterion introduction of this film. Let's go ahead and look at some of these special edition features from this director-approved Criterion. New 2K restoration approved by writer-director Hirokazu Kore-eda with uncompressed mono soundtrack on the Blu-ray. New audio commentary featuring film scholar Linda C. Elreich. New interviews with Kore-eda and cinematographers Masayoshi Tsukida and Yurika Yamazaki. Deleted scenes, a trailer, and an essay by novelist Viet Dong Nguyen. Yeah, I believe that is the one that is available here in the packaging. I loved this film from Hirokazu Kore-eda. I was a very big fan of the existential themes and the discussion on the afterlife in this film. I thought that he did an incredible job weaving it into his actual narrative within this film. I think it's such an interesting concept to look at the afterlife more so as a collection of a memory into a short film that you'll be able to live into forever. I think that's such a comforting look into what the afterlife, can or should be if concerning your belief system. I found this to be a near perfect film. I loved the cinematography in this film, the music, the sets were just incredible. Performances, especially by the older people in this film, were so beautifully performed. I just kept gravitating to so many of these characters who, at first they want to be the jokesters and say that my favorite memory was that time I went to a brothel and I had a woman there who I was really into and whatnot. And, but then they actually understand that this is serious and they come with a memory that they feel that is actually worthwhile, that they feel is actually a rich depiction of what they felt the most memorable moment of their life was. Kore-eda is able to weave this together so nicely and be able to, not present you a very happy film. It's a very sad movie at times, but it's also just a very realistic approach to how we as humans, don't really want to think about the afterlife. We don't really want to think about those choices and the idea of where we're going after we're done, or if there's anywhere to go after we're done here on this earth. And I think that Kore-eda is kind of discussing a bit of his fears, but a bit of just the Japanese society's fears, especially as it has a lot of discussion about, war and about social class. And I think that this movie just beautifully encapsulates that existential conversation of truly, if you could live in one memory, which one would you choose? And it's such an impossible question to answer, at least for me, because I can choose one right now. But who knows if I want to choose one in 5 years from now, what my choice will be. But I think that the film works so well. The only thing I will go ahead and, dock points for, I think that the pace is way too slow in the first act. I think once it gets into its second and third, it really picks up. But the first act is kind of a drag. It drags a lot. And I thought, when are we really going to pick this up? But once you get into that second half of the film just locks you in, and I was just, amazed by what I was watching. And I love this film. I loved everything it's discussing. I love the fact that, the people who are interviewing them are people who haven't chosen a memory. And it just goes to show you that even those who have experienced death are still not ready to experience the afterlife. And I found that to just be an amazing depiction of such an existential theme in this film. Now let's talk about the restoration. So this is a 2K restoration with a mono soundtrack on the Blu-ray. I watched this Blu-ray. I watched this Blu-ray on my Panasonic 4K player on my TCL 4K TV. So I did benefit from a bit of upscaling. So this was quite the picture to look at when I put it into my 4K player. And I'm going to be really honest with you all. Having seen Shoplifters and having only seen Shoplifters, I'm not going to have the best collection of what these films used to look like because, of course, I've never seen this film before. So this is me going blind into this film, but especially this restoration. So I will say that I love the way this film looked on my television. The restoration, especially the regrading probably that they did on this, just looks beautiful. I can't tell what film stock they used, but the film stock they used was able to capture those blues, white, green, reds beautifully, and it reminds me a lot of the film stock used at the time in Hong Kong, in Hong Kong cinema in the 90s, and I love the use of that film stock. So it makes for a really interesting restoration in 2K. This is of course not a 4K digital restoration. This is a 2K restoration, so it's not gonna look like ultimate 4K quality. You know, you get such crisp quality, and it's not meant to do that. This looks beautiful. I gotta reiterate that. Like, there's scenes in the snow that just look beautifully colored, and they look so beautifully captured by that film stock, and they were able to do that with this restoration to bring out so many of those colors. And I think they ultimately did a great job of being able to restore this film and bring it out to so recently in this collection, so that way they can bring it out for more people to enjoy, especially now that we're kind of on the cusps of his new film Broker coming out. So I'm gonna see that a lot of people are probably gonna go ahead and look into Afterlife and Still Walking for the collection. And I've got to say that I really did enjoy this restoration. There is no like debris, there's no scratches, everything is kind of cleaned up. It still has its way of looking a bit, rough because of that grain from the 90s, and I've got to say I'm glad they kept that grain. But even though it looks kind of rough, especially because you are kind of like getting this feel of a documentary, you got to have a little bit of that rough edge to the film. So I'm glad the restoration was able to keep that rough edge to it, but still be able to clean up what it looks like. And ultimately, I think it's a great restoration. Audio is pretty much the same thing. I really like this mononeural soundtrack. I think it sounds great on my TV, and it, I had no complaints over it. I especially like the way that the music sounds coming out, and just those sound effects, and the way that the sound is kind of engineered in this film. The design for the sound was beautiful, especially when they're like in the offices, and the sounds of the chairs, the sounds of the film, especially when they're making the film. I think the sound team did a great job of being able to bring out those lifelike sounds of an actual film camera and stuff like that. But ultimately, this isn't like groundbreaking sound work being done on the restoration, but it is really good, and it's able to give it a good enough audio restoration. Whereas some films, of course, have sacrificed the audio restorations, and they don't really care much about the audio restorations. But this one, it is really good, and for a mononeural soundtrack on this Criterion, I gotta say that it sounds great. So ultimately, you have yourself another great Criterion here, Afterlife, from director Hirokazu Kore-eda. I love this one. I gave this a 4.5 out of 5 on my Letterboxd for the film. And when it comes to the restoration, pretty much the same thing. Restoration is going to be 4.5 out of 5. I love this film. I love this restoration. And I hope you all check it out. If not, if you have watched it, let me know what you think about this film. Do you own this one? And do you have this Criterion? Do you like this Criterion, whatnot? Just talk to me, and we'll talk about what your thoughts on this Criterion. But I loved it, and I'm really happy to be continuing on with my journey through Hirokazu Kore-eda's work. To keep up with me and all things social media, make sure you follow me at the Nerdy Chicano on everything: Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, Twitch, Letterboxd, and Serialized. All of that wonderful stuff. You're gonna find me under the Nerdy Chicano with a CH. And on here, make sure you're subscribing and liking the video, of course, and all that wonderful stuff. Keep up to date with all the things that I do on the Nerdcore by visiting thenerdcore.com. That's our one-stop shop for everything you're going to want to find about us. That's our website, so go and check that out, thenerdcore.com. I had a lot of fun talking about this film with you all, and I hope that you all did too. Of course, make sure you stay tuned for all the other content that we have available on this channel, and celebrate the love of physical media with us. We love physical media here, so if you're new, stay. If you're not new, stay a little longer too. We love everybody here, and we love being able to talk about physical media and movies. So, of course, my wonderful cinephiles and renowned scholars, celebrate the love of cinema today, tomorrow, and every day after. I'll catch you all in the next one, guys.